Okay. Hopefully it works out right because everything has been a bit topsy-turvy. Yes, the Mungalow Croonings show. It's the where are my glasses? I had my glasses on. Oh God, please don't tell me that I don't have because I can't see a thing. Where did I put them? I think I left them. I'll have to sit close to the thing like this because I can't see anything. Anyways, well, welcome to the Mungalow Screening Show. Welcome to the Mungalow Crooning Show. Yeah. Welcome to the Mungalow Crooning Show. Yeah. Woo! Yes. Ah, today has been a bit of a tiring day, I must confess. I'm just trying to like get everything because unfortunately my laptop is not good. So I'm trying to get it to balance in a way that it will respect the whole thing. God is and then what happened is my tablet, oh God, is it making any sense what I'm doing? Okay, let me put it this way. So then I can sit like this. So my tablet has been having problems with the cable. So I've had to put it in a particular way for it to keep working. If not, it will just die. And it's where I transfer everything, although I don't have to do that anymore. So I don't even know why I'm even bothering myself because I just realized now that I don't have to transfer anything anymore. It's all now on multi platforms. So yes, today is our first day actually streaming on multi platforms. So, normally we would stream on Facebook, then, download it onto YouTube and that. But now it just goes straight on to YouTube and also to Facebook. And hopefully we'll be able to get Instagram because of course we do love the Insta and maybe Twitter also. Who knows? What StreamYard gives us, we will take it. And we are having a very, very special guest. The things I do for you people, God. Because of course, I've been back in college. Okay, someone is actually posting something very rude. Can you please take we don't need people coming here. I'm going to block this user. We don't need this kind of people coming here to come and say rude things. This is the problem. There are people who are not well in this world, though. They are seriously not well. Like they have problems. There's a platform going on. We are talking about something important, and you come and start putting obscene comments on it. For what? Anyways, irrelevant. As a king of boys said, I don't have time for irrelevances. So, of course, I'm back to college. Also, just doing so many things at the same time, trying to work, still doing the show. I still went to the radio station today. Yesterday I was teaching. I taught today also. So like I'm exhausted, man, and I'm not eating. I've lost weight in the last 1 week. Like even my body knows that I've lost weight because I don't have time to eat. I'm too exhausted, everything. Just trying to do what I can do. So, anyways, thank God for Ronald Monye because if I didn't have him, I think I would have packed the whole thing in and just be like, I not do it again. But because of him, we've been able to like get onto higher heights, move on to. It's not like because people will be like, didn't have any dreams or anything until run. I do, and I did, and I still do, but like he covers all the places that I can't reach. He really covers my inadequacies, and I'm so grateful for him. So talking about the Rev, because Tunde is already here. Hey, Let me add it to the stream. Hi, welcome. Can you see the way we are looking now? Can you see us? Hey, we are on higher heights. We are on higher heights. Can you see it? You're muted, sir.
All right. Okay. How are you? Can you hear me?
I'm fine. Hey, Barry White in the house.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Interesting topic today.
Oh, yes, it's a very interesting topic today. I'll just quickly like catching up everyone. I don't know where Ronald is. Oh, I do not have a clue because normally he'll be here by now. He most likely is still running around chasing up some things because the thing is, I was at work very early this morning, and he was already like, "How do we get this? How do we do this?" I was like, "Mr. Man, I can only do one thing at a time," and I'm that kind. I'm very strange as a woman because there's this belief that women can multitask. I can't. If I'm concentrating on something, the worst thing you can be doing to me is talking to me, asking me questions. I won't be able to concentrate and it irritates, like it gets on my nerves. And he was just asking me questions and I just muted him. I was like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk. So maybe he's going to do something. I'm sure he's the one who is messaging me.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay. She's asking. Okay, our special guest. We actually have a special guest coming on. I won't tell you who it is. I'm sending her the link now. Oh, okay. Let me give her the link again. Oh, I'm sending her own link. So our special guest is asking for the link. So that's what I'm doing. So we are talking about, let me quickly get it. Oh God. Hey. You see, I love how Ronald behaves as if I'm the one in control of certain things. He can't find a video. He's not telling me, get me a good one. Like me and YouTube, we have special business that we run. Oga, I don't have anything to give you. So, so if you can't find it, you can't find it. Not here. She's not going to fight anybody. Okay, I've sent her the code. So let me add Ron. You'll be asking me, send me this, send me that, as if me and YouTube have a one special something. I'm trying to add there. Hey, Oga Moye, thank you. Welcome. And thanks for joining us. What's him again? Let me try and get him. So today we are talking about cultural identity because, of course, we've been hearing a lot. Yeah, welcome. Mute the extramural that you have. Mute it, please. Of course, we've been hearing a lot. Yeah, welcome. I'm going to mute you. Sunday, can you hear Ronald? He's playing what I just said just now.
No, I can't hear
You can hear
at
him.
all. No, I can't.
Okay, because what I said, he's most likely playing on a different device, so that's like giving feedback. Anyways, I think he's trying to sort it out. Anyways, so with what we found out happening recently in today's world, with how, like, even in the tiniest things, you hear a lot of, especially we in diaspora. I think this question is really for a lot of us in diaspora, but not just in diaspora, even those of us in our home countries, because you find a lot of people. You need to mute. Ronald, you need to, yeah, okay. So you'll find a lot of people in our home country being proud of the fact that their children can't speak their native language. They'll be like, oh, they only speak English. And I'm sure if I don't know whether that happened in your school, but in our school, when we were in secondary school, we weren't encouraged to speak lingua franca, as they called it. Our native language was called lingua franca. We weren't encouraged to speak it. We were encouraged to speak English all the time. And even learning our native languages were electives. You could, if you wanted, if you didn't want, it was fine. And now they've been completely scrapped, from what I understand, back home. And you actually find a couple of parents who are conscious of what is going on, actually paying to now have tutors to come and teach their children their own native language, because even they are inadequate in teaching it to their own kids. So they'll go and get an outsider to come and teach their kids their own native language. Like, I can't imagine my parents now. Although I remember when I was younger, and I was actually made to go and live with my grandmother for some months, because my Yoruba was atrocious. Because of course we had been all over. So my dad was in Russia, then went to Finland. So up and down, up and down. So my language was whack. I was speaking different things at different times, but the Yoruba itself was not there. So I was sent to go and stay with my grandmother for some time, just so that my Yoruba could get better. So you find, but the thought of, at least that's a family member, but actually having to pay somebody to come and teach your kids your own language. But we're finding that that's happening. Even in a lot of our films are usually like the stalwarts of who we are. Our own films now, they, even when they speak our native language, the native language, they get K-leg, it's never straightforward. So anyways, that's the premise of the whole whatever. So Abby is here. I don't know what's happening with Ronald's page. Hi, Abby. How you doing, darling? Hope your day was good.
Not bad. I'm cold.
Hey, it's cold. It's very, very cold today.
Oh, okay. So it's
Can't you
not.
see what I'm wearing?
Yes, now. So I had to
And
put
I'm
this
still
on.
cold though.
Well,
Hey,
I'm
and
cold
I
though.
don't want to put on the heater in my house yet because it gives me a headache.
Yeah, same here.
So
Oh,
that's why I'm like, okay, I will, you
you
know,
go.
I will wear what I can. So of course you've met Dr. Tunde before.
Yes, we have
Okay.
that. It was.
Your fan club member is not yet here. Oh, hey, Kayode Atobatele
I'm
is
challenging
on
the men
YouTube and
today.
is
They
saying
need to come
vernacular.
on board. Um, I am challenging the men today. They need to come on board.
Exactly, so that we will not be accused of making it a feminist
Oh,
forum, Abi.
he will look like
Because
a
they yapped us
family
last week, we kept
forum.
quiet, though.
You guys should come in. Honestly,
Well,
it's fun. It's fun to listen to other people's perspectives. Um,
Today wanted to say something. What were you saying?
I was just saying we will try our best. So
Yes, so please try your best. Go and call
I
your
like
men
this
folk.
gentlemanly voice. We'll
And the good thing is, I'm sure you've noticed the format of the show. You can see that our logo is now there. Everything is there. We are actually like, we are the ones in charge of it now. It's no longer StreamYard. And we can have more than 6 people.
Wow.
Okay, Ron is coming back. Hopefully, he's something as he's whatever. Stop echoing. Hi, Ron.
Can you hear me?
Yes, he's see how he's looking harassed.
My village people have really, really done a number on me today.
His village people, they balanced on his case today.
Oh God. Oh my
Kayode Atobatele,
goodness.
stop hiding on YouTube and come and join us, Joe.
Please, the male. I'm trying not to say
Abby,
male.
Abby is missing you. Abby is missing you. You better
Yeah.
come quickly.
Oh, who is that? Is it Peter?
No, I'm saying that you're missing him now.
Who am I
There's
missing?
this, you're missing Kayode Atobatele. There's somebody on Instagram, on YouTube that I'm trying to. I think I've blocked him, but I just need to like get rid of that person. Okay. So, no, I'm not blocking him for 5 minutes. I'm blocking him. Pata pata. Okay, hey, PK, welcome. For once, the men are outnumbering us. Very good. So, welcome. Nice to see you.
Where that Oyibo girl where I won't marry.
Bobby Teller. Okay, people, we actually have our guest in the house. I am so excited, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm just going to bring her on. Now, please try not to freak out.
I'm freaking out already.
Don't freak out.
Is it Bumi Teller?
No.
It's Weird MC. I know Weird MC is weird.
Another word.
You're very welcome, Weird MC. Of course, I don't call her Weird MC. I call her Sister Shola because she's family.
No, she's not Sister Shola. She's Weird MC and she's weird.
She's not weird. She's not weird at all. She's amazing.
Somebody's first name is weird. You are saying that she's not weird. What else? What else do you need? Somebody said my name is weird. You say my name. You say her name is not weird. She's weird. She's not Sister Shola.
It's Monica. Why you behaving like a bushman like this?
No. I'm not Busho. It says here Weird MC. First name Weird. Last name MC.
Tori Olo. You have come with your wahala again. Please, sister, just ignore Kayode. He has coin.
It's not a coin show.
It's a coin show, but your own coin is on fleek. Okay, so let's get it on because we have a lot to talk about. So, just as I said, because today was what was online when I started, I'm just going to do a quick recap and then bust it open to the floor. We are, with everything that's happening in the world now and the way the world is progressing, is like for us, our cultural identity has become a bit of something that we don't want to be associated with. You're finding a lot of people, not just in diaspora but even in our home countries, not letting their kids learn their native language anymore. They are everything is westernized. We don't wear, like how Friday used to be dress up Friday, you wear your native and everything. Now everybody's all in jeans. You find people sagging their pants, but everybody is trying to do one thing or the other. And there's some things that are like stolen from us, then we denounce them because of maybe religion or whatever, but then we're taking them back. But instead of taking them back and taking them back as our own, we're taking them back as Western things. So things like piercings, things like earrings, because if you look at our African culture, that was always in our culture. Things like tattoos, they were always in our culture. But now when we adapt it as Western things instead of our own native stuff. So in this Western world, is our cultural identity relevant anymore? So that's the question. So who wants to start off?
I'll say yes. I'll say yes for starters. At least what's happening right now through the music, everybody's now shouting Afrobeat, blah blah blah, this and that, And if you look at someone like Burna Boy, his costumes, what he puts on, he tries as much as possible to put Africa in people's faces. Even the title of one of his albums, African Giant, when he sings, he does stuff in Yoruba, in Pidgin, so he's trying as much as possible within the best of his ability to still, put our Africanness out there, but we can still do so much more. And then the danger now is that people are now jumping on the bandwagon, but they're literally now taking what is ours and now taking the credit. And that's really dangerous. Look at all this Gucci, all this leather, all the stuff that we wear. Do you know they go to get that leather in Kano? They go to Sokoto to get that. But people don't know that. People don't know that. But I've heard friends saying to me, no, they call me Yoruba because Yoruba is Gota language. I said, what do you mean?
What?
I said, what do you mean Yoruba is Gota language? That's our language, my mother tongue. People are shocked when they hear me speak in the Ijebu language. Sometimes I'll come on Instagram, you see this way, Omo Ijebu, and I'll be speaking to them and they won't be able to say a word. I'll be like, You guys can't even speak. You can't even speak really. So, but still, there's a danger there in us becoming extinct. Our language, our culture, like this. But what it is, there's another tip where we can go like completely right side, where we overdo things. You know that kind of a thing. So, but are we in danger? I'll say yes. But it's not too late for us. We can like come back to reality and see what goes on. But I see a lot of things today in the culture, like I said, the tattoos, earrings, stuff, even these scullies. We had scullies from way back.
Way back. Yeah.
But they bring it now, they repackage it. Look at jollof rice. If we're not careful, someone is going to package that jollof rice, and that's the end.
They packaged it already. Oh, Jamie Oliver tried. He failed, but somebody else is trying. I mean, he tried. He actually came and was like, "Oh, jollof rice," and we were like, "What is this abomination that you brought out here?" But I even know that is it Heinz. Heinz has made the jollof thing. Yeah, they've already made like a jollof can. So jollof in a can. Heinz is already selling it in some places, and that's our own food that they're selling.
They're selling it already.
I'm sorry?
You're saying they're selling it already?
Yes, they're already selling it.
I didn't even know that. Look at Stella.
Oh yeah, because I saw it online some time ago, some months ago, and I was like, and it was just like, how many things of ours has to be taken from us before we wake up to the things that we despise about ourselves, that the rest of the world loves and enjoys from us. It's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. Now, before I move on and I'm going to ask Tunde to come in here, before you come on, I want to ask this question. Can we say that maybe not just Westernization, but everything else that it brings? Because when we're talking about tattoos, we're talking about even the skull cap, we're talking about piercings. Now, in today's world, especially back home, if you have those things, although it's sort of moving away from you must be irresponsible, but it still seems to be irresponsible if you have any of those things. And this is the funny thing, in diaspora, if somebody has got their hair weaved, they're not black, but they've got their hair weaved, they got earrings, they've got piercings, and they put on a suit, nobody is going to say anything much. They'll still be like, oh, they're fly, they're this, they're that. But the moment, or as Kiki would say, the monuments are on dresses like that, there's a problem. So Tunde, what do you want to say about that? And while we're doing that, I'm going to be bringing Sheung Shaw on.
Okay. Well, firstly, thanks for having me on your show. So I want to start by saying that there's good and bad on both sides. So what do I mean by that? Is that in every culture, there are things that you can take that are valuable, and there are things that you should really at all costs try not to make that part of what is your own culture or traditions within where you come from. So, I am not against people taking the concept of jollof rice, or people taking the concept of suya and trying to use that as part of their own diet or what that they want to do with that. I think that is fine, as long as we're able to take things that are good about their own culture and imbibe them within our own culture. There are things about our culture that we could look at changing, and there are things about our culture that are amazing. So I think it's important to kind of put that out there first. That's my first point.
Okay.
I was going to point out is that, this really starts with a mindset from us and our own inferiority that has been bred maybe 100 years. This really starts with us rather than with looking at it from what are they doing to us. We need to start to think about what we're
doing to ourselves.
And in addition to that, what do we stand to lose? In every wherever you go to in the world today, when you're in England, you notice that there are people who speak with different accents depending on where they come from. You know, I think you have to think about it from this perspective. At some point, one particular set of people win, and then everybody else just sort of lose their ways until the point that that one particular culture or way of doing things becomes the norm. And if we go down this path and see it to its full conclusion, we will lose language, because ultimately it's becoming less and less and less. So far, there are many generations being born and they are not able to speak different languages from where they come from. So, for example, in my household, speaking Yoruba was not even a reality. My dad was very much against that. And the schools we went to. So language, we stand to lose. Food, very slowly, our food and the things that are fascinating about the diet and our food, we're beginning to, I think we were losing it to a certain extent. Now we're beginning to see the value again, but there's still a lot of work to be done on food. History is a big part that we stand to lose, and we need to be aware, aware of the fact that if we carry on this way, we are terrible at documenting anyway. We don't document correctly. We don't keep history. We don't keep all this kind of relevant information. So we need to be mindful of that. I was talking to my dad recently, and he told me about a book that it's about 400 pages of all the different herbs that we have in Yoruba land and what you mix together to make to cure different diseases. And he was telling me about this book that was given to him by a previous Alake of Igbaland. And I was thinking, I need a copy of this book. It's written in Yoruba, and I want to have this. You can imagine the incredible information.
The wealth of knowledge in it.
This book was written about maybe, I want to say 60 years ago. That information is not on the market. It's not even available for sale. It's that kind of thing that we stand to lose. That is part of our history, medication, all those type of things. Religion, I lost. That's something that's very touchy. Let's not talk about that, because that's very, very dangerous grounds that we don't want to tread on. But we've already lost that.
We will tread on it at a point. I'm actually going to it.
One of the places that the British came to, and we thought that our own religions were, or whatever beliefs we had, was substandard to what they were offering. But that's a different conversation. I think that's very dangerous. I don't want to really. I just think I wrote down a few things that I think we stand to lose. I'm going to mention art and craft. When you go to Lagos today, there's so many wonderful places that you're going to learn so much about. And that you find so much art, so much craft everywhere. You go towards Elegushi area, there's so much that you can see there. It will take another generation. We may not be able to know how to do these things anymore, because we look at those things substandard. So, but the ultimate concern I have is one, and I'll end with this, is that do we have a choice? This is a question, but do we have a choice? Because we're at the point where, if we're not careful, whether we like it or not, we are moving so far away from reality when it comes to our own culture and our own heritage and the way we do things, and with the Westernized mentality that we have right now in Nigeria and around Africa, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, we are going down this path where it may be happening, and it may be too late for us to actually correct any of it. And that's my biggest concern. For those of us in the diaspora and for those of us who are at home, we need to find a way to pull back. And I don't think that we're doing enough to pull back. That's my thought on it.
At all. Okay, now, Abby, I'm going to come to you next. Now, before I do that, I know that I was watching TV some time ago during COVID, and a lot of adverts from African doctors who kept saying, oh, the African diet is dangerous, the African diet is this, the African diet is that, this needs to. So it was an onslaught of things against the African diet. Oh, the African diet has too much oil, the African diet has too much salt, the African diet. And I'm like, wait a minute, lasagna, pork, all the stuff that we rarely eat, with oil, butter, salt, and his African diet that you're attacking constantly, you know. And I was just like, I was just like, what's this campaign about? Then a couple of days ago, I actually saw an advert for Tilda rice, and I know that it is such a silly thing to be proud about. But on the Tilda rice, they were showing different cultures, and there was a Yoruba woman there with her son, and she was teaching him how to make rice. And she was like, "Oto, toto, muffin konsi," and they actually said Yoruba in it. And it's an advert, it's a nationwide advert. And when they are doing, it's delicious. They actually put Yoruba Odun. And I was so proud. I was like, "Oh my God, who do I tell?" You know. And I was excited, but then I was also sad that wow, that something that tiny, that minuscule would make me so happy. So, Abby, where do you think we are going with all of this?
Awareness. We need to keep talking
Hello?
about it. I think it's all about awareness. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I think it's all about awareness. We need to keep talking about it. Nothing is going to happen if we don't keep talking about it. For instance, I remember one of my nieces came to me, they came visiting, and she asked me this question: what is the English name for akara? I posted that information online. My friends were like beans cake and all that. I said my reference to her was akara is akara.
Mm. Don't pull back from your mic because your vocals keep coming in and out.
Akara is akara. There is no there's no other word for it. So there's no way anyone can tell me anything different. That akara is beef cake or is whatever cake or whatever. And for me, just like Cindy mentioned, um, growing up, it was in a way we were messed up by background. I remember I wasn't speaking Yoruba, so I wasn't speaking English, and my cousins were speaking English, and my mom feels so I don't know, intimidated. They're like, oh, only you don't speak English, you da, 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 da. And and I have to start making that a culture to make sure that I speak English, to make sure, but sometimes it was like flapping. Even with my Eastern words that I still speak now, to get it right, it was a big deal. And so they wanted everyone to be speaking English. And so when I got to the UK, it wasn't like I don't have to start learning to say, oh, this is what I'm going to be speaking. It's English. But I wish that all this awareness that we're now having now, I had it then. So that's why I said the only way out of this whole thing that we have put ourselves is awareness. Keep talking about it. Keep talking about it. They've messed up with everything that is ours, including religion. And just like from now, we will wait on that. Before we
you know what you just said about akara. I remember speaking to a Spanish friend of mine, and I was like, oh, I bought some ingredients because I wanted to make paella, because I'm one of those people, I love to eat food from different cultures. And in the quest for my health, I keep trying to find healthy alternatives to things. And I was like, oh, I want to make paella. And she first of all said, well, it's not paella, it's paella. I was like, oh, okay. Sorry, me always knew it as paella, but okay, paella. Then she was like, oh, and I was like, it's just like jollof. She was like, what? I was like, oh, we have a kind of rice that is like your paella, but is jollof. She was like, no, paella is paella. There's nothing like paella. Is your jollof is your jollof. Our paella is our paella. Like, it was almost like, I was like, okay, don't vex. But you know what? It made me think and go, why do we always try to substitute our food's identity? So moi moi is bean steamed what do they even call it, steamed something something, and then the akara is bean cake, then dundun is fried yam, we want
Chicken
one thing.
chips.
Yam chips, thank you very much. Dundun is yam chips. What is yam chips? Then plantain is dodo is again we funkify it. Like, can our food just be our food? Can it just be its identity? Because I haven't seen any other food that changes. Haggis is haggis. No one has tried to call it any other thing apart from haggis. You
See,
know,
What I
so
was,
Kayode.
sorry.
Sorry,
I
okay,
was
sorry,
gonna say
Abby, finish.
I was gonna say something that I think when we're talking about this information, we will think some people will think it's because we live in the UK and that's why it's different. But I beg to disagree that some people even live in Nigeria will say, "Oh, my child doesn't like African food. They only eat pizza. They only and I'm not even joking. That one particular day, a friend called me and I said, "Oh, I need to make eba for the kids." And he said, eba ke, nílùú òyìnbó, meaning eba. Why would you eat that food in the UK? And I'm like, but they love
Is
it.
it seafood?
No, listen. And they said they love it. And the person was kind of doubting me. And I put the phone on speaker and I called my kid. I said, well, we are eating eba tonight. And they're like, yay. And the person was like, did they really like it? Now, this is somebody living in Nigeria, Ibadan to be precise, or your state, for the people that don't know. And it was, the way he was saying it, it wasn't feeling for me because they don't really eat that, quote and unquote.
They eat pizza instead.
I
Hey,
don't
in
know, maybe
Ibadan, the hand of a mola. Yeah.
yeah. So they eat amala, but they find that but you people living in the so it's like projecting their thoughts towards us. And for my
Mm.
kids, it's like luxury because they can wake up, they might have it in the afternoon and just say, I want to have Gary. And I'll say, no, oh mommy, please, can we have Gary? Can we have Gary? We have akara, we make everything. And they see it as something, it's a big deal. And I've never called akara anything. It's akara. And I will even stress the word. Like if you want to call my name, they know, mommy, don't start this. Can we just say Abi? No, Abimbola with the tone, with the accent and
You know,
everything.
it
That's
is
what
so
it is.
painful when I hear Nigerians in diaspora and I say, "What's your name?" I was like, Tandai. Eh? What is Tunde? Tunde? You thought it on Tunde. Don't worry, my name is
But,
Tunde too.
but
Hey,
what,
hey, Tundai? What is Tundai?
at no point did I say my name was
No,
Tunda.
I wasn't saying you. I wasn't saying you. It just came to my head. Like you hear someone say, "My name is what's your name?" You'll be hearing Missy, Missy, like Missy. What's Missy? Like, oh, my name's Yamaise. Eh?
Abby,
I'm like, do you know what your name means?
Abby,
And you bastardized it this much.
Abby, can
You
I?
know
And I wish to call you Abby from today on.
who?
Should we call you Abby from today on?
Do you know my pastor in my old church? He always calls me Abby. He doesn't call me Abby. He calls me Abby because he knows it's Abi Odun. So he calls me Abby, which I find so beautiful. But of course, especially where I work, if I was telling people my name is Abby, they'll be looking at me like, huh? Because I don't understand. Because I've actually asked a couple of Caucasian friends of mine, I'm like, can't you hear tone? I would tell you my name is Abby, and you're like, Abby. I'm like, Abby. Abby.
I'm just
I can't even talk because my name is RB.
So where do we go? So let me read out some of the comments. So on Instagram we have Zainab Sadiq Inato, and she's saying, exactly, I really didn't understand the topic, but this is really important. So when she heard us discussing it, she now understood what the topic was, because she just saw the topic and she didn't get what it meant. And said, Tunde hit all my points that food is vital. I would like that book too, though we do learn medical plants in biology and people specialize in it. And she said, I do think the pullback is happening though. So, people are saying, at least a comment is coming saying the pullback is happening. So, PK, what are your thoughts about this? Especially when you're thinking about, like, you're a very, very Yoruba man. I know that about you. You are proudly Kayode Atobatele. There is no mistake as to who you are. When MC is like giving you the thumbs up.
Well,
so what are your thoughts on this?
I'll actually say I'm more, let's say I am woke is probably what I'll say. Maybe over time. So for example, I was thinking through this and I realized that my two sons, none of them has an English name. And over time they were like, what's their English name? Their names are Oluwatomisin Omorodion Atobatele, the first one. The other one is Oluwatimileyin Oluwatoba Atobatele. Timileyin has never been to Nigeria. He was born in the US. So when English name, he doesn't have an English name. Learn his name, right? Then the other thing is, when I look at all this, it's not long ago that they actually started to mess with us. It's my father's generation that they messed with first. My grandfather felt education was important to his kids, so he sent all his kids to school to get educated. When they got that education, it turned out to be brainwashing. Now, in hindsight, when I look at it, because they turned my father against my grandfather's generation, when my father's generation started to paint my grandfather's generation as uneducated, illiterate, and everything they did was evil. Their gods, their religion was all evil. Their medicine was witchcraft doctor. Witch doctor. Traditional medicine is considered either evil or unscientific. But the question is, if it was that bad, how did generations survive up till the point of my grandfather? How did they take care of their own? Why didn't all of them die of disease? Right? You have to ask those questions. Then these days I ask, who taught my grandfather's generation how to make the agbada that we wear? Because I don't see the white man wearing the things that I see us cling to now, which means that somewhere down the line, right, my grandfather's generation and before that, they created the technology with which they got the material with which they created the agbada, the ashoke, those things that we now see now, even the irukere.
Yeah.
Right? So
sorry, the ashoke. There's the ashoke and then there's the ofi.
Yes.
That ofi is different.
Yes. And it's thicker, right? How do they get the technology to get the cotton, right? That it turned into a thread, that it turned into that ashoke. When you start to think of that, then you start to realize how much technology was wiped off by educating my father's generation. Because before they came and sold they call it a company, which basically was the selling of Nigeria, right, to the British, who now came and took over the company that became the amalgamation of companies that really, in hindsight, is basically just sold the whole country, right? Before they came and did all that, people were living in Akwa Ibom. They have something called Insigidi. I don't know if I called that correctly, but these are writings. They were writings, and when you talk to somebody from Akwa Ibom that understands this, they'll tell you that there was a certain clan that understood those writings. But of course, when they wrote about it, now the only difference that I see in hindsight now is that the people who were guests to Africa, right? Let's not even start to talk about the fact that our culture is that a visitor must not die in your care. Yeah, exactly. And that when you come across a visitor, our culture is that we embrace them and make sure that they are comfortable. That was all my grandfather, my great-grand. This was the thing. Somebody comes and you must take care of them and you must care for them, and they must no harm. must befall them.
Must come to them. Yeah.
Must come to them. That's our culture across. That's why you hear of things like Ubuntu in South Africa.
Yes.
Right? What's the whole concept of Ubuntu? I am because you are. That's the reason why our medicine is not commercial is that nobody will teach you medicine if you are thinking of commercializing it. That's why till date, when we go to our local doctors, the traditional doctors, you pay them very little. They take very little money from you till date. Because medicine was not
the authentic ones. The authentic ones will say, offend me.
Yes.
Just give something. It is free.
Exactly. You're not supposed to commercialize
whatever you can.
That was part of our culture. All these things were taken away from us. And then, well, I have to give it to them. The guys who brainwashed my father's generation, because they did it so well that they made them do it to their children. And they were hoping that it would pass on to their children's children. Maybe now, we are now asking more questions. Having had a few people like Fela, right, sing about it, like people like the people who, and guess what? Part of that system was to label them as rebels. Anybody who asked questions that why should this thing be like this was immediately part of the system was to categorize them as rebels. You're not to relate with them. They're bad people. They're against progress. Right? And then, of course, once you put a bad label on someone, guess what? You can basically treat them as you have labeled them. Right? So the people who started to ask questions, if you think about it, in our history books, they're all rebels. They're all evil. In fact, they fall under a negative category.
Oh, yes.
Right? So it's now us now that we're now going back and we're now listening to things. I'm now listening to Fela. I'm like, this man was a genius. And by the way, the Igbo that he was smoking is now legal in the places where they said it was bad. So please, somebody explain to me who really was ahead of time. Right? So the thing is that it's good that we're having these conversations because there's something that that actually the entertainment industry did, whether knowingly or unknowingly. So initially, when people were singing, I remember Ifoma, I want to marry you. Then if you go back, then there's one guy who was African Michael Jackson. He just copied Michael Jackson. Then suddenly came the real cultural Nigerian who, as we're speaking now, will speak English and then weave it into broken English and weave it into Yoruba, add a little bit of Hausa and a little of, that's how we speak, that's how we communicate.
That's why we have Weird MC here, because you did it with Ijoya.
Yeah, exactly. But the moment the entertainment industry started to sing like that, it was the most authentic Nigerian or most authentic African because culture changes, right? And then guess what? That's actually when it now became accepted mainstream all the way out and back in. In fact, anytime you now come to this America and you want to come and be pretending that you're African American, your music will drop. I don't want to mention any names. The moment you are putting your Yoruba back in and your father, your music basically picks up because the real us allows for innovation. Right? Yeah. The real us, they've taken away. They actually took away our innovation and gave us basically factory cookie
cutter lifestyle, cookie cutter personalities.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's still at work back home in Nigeria. Unfortunately,
and even in diaspora, it's still very much at work.
Yes.
I mean, we had our food and drink festival recently, and I wore my Ankara top, and I had jeans under. And I know some of the comments I got, like, you could have worn a better top now.
Yes, yeah.
Why did you wear that?
So it takes more. The people who have really pushed it out, the people who have pushed it out are actually the people who have made it fashionable to basically identify with your culture. I'll say are the people in the entertainment industry more than any other group, right? Because my sons that have not been to Nigeria forever are now basically I'm now cool. Because I used to tell them about Wizkid earlier on.
And Davido and...
Yes. So now they're excited that to hear. They're excited to tell their own colleagues that Davido is from Nigeria and that they are Nigerians. So that is changing, but we must continue to talk about it, because even us now, the system has designed that we also be labeled as rebels. So that when I say that I love my grandfather's ways and I want to marry as many wives as he had, even Abby now starts to castigate me. Why? Why can't I follow
because
my
I want to
ways?
be the only one.
Why do I have to follow my father's ways when I now realize that my grandfather was wiser? Okay, I'll stop there.
I want to be the only one. I don't want to share. Okay, so let's call on the Rev, because maybe he can bring a spiritual angle to this whole discussion. But before the Rev comes on, again, we have someone saying that PK, that is so true. They support everything that you're saying and they actually agree with your points. So, Rev, can you please share your thoughts with us?
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot. This is my village people again. They've been messing with my internet.
They've been showing him shake this morning.
Okay. This. Hey, shout out to Weird MC. I know I wasn't here when they introduced you. Big ups. I've been longing to see you on the show, and I'm really happy to see you.
This is one of your biggest fans. He no gree me rest.
Then, hello, sir. Hello, Kaede. Hello, Tunde. Happy dear. How are you?
Wow.
And Happy
dear.
Yes, now.
And Sean is around. Hey, Pablo.
Okay. There's somebody still waiting for you to add your friend. Okay. So.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. So let me start by. Yes. So let me start.
I'm so sorry.
I saw her. I'm Candy's friend, Hi, Candy.
Candy, please don't mind him. You're my friend. You're my friend first. He's always trying to steal all my friends.
Okay, I took down some points because this topic came in last minute and all that. I want to start with the language part. Some of you have touched that, so I wouldn't want to rehash these things because I'm sure a lot of people are like wondering: is it true that people actually don't want their children to learn their native languages? And they'll be like, yeah, it's not possible, but it's true. And you find out that it's not even the educated people that are the ones doing it; it's the ones that are really not intellectually exposed that do these things. So they feel like they are using their children to cross frontiers they've never crossed before in their life. So I don't want to even give examples, that would be petty. So okay, let's move to then also the accent. I like the way Tunde corrected the Abi and say Abi. That would you like for people to call you Abi? Yeah, I remember when I left Nigeria like 10 years ago, I came in, I was trying to speak like, those people. And at the end of the day, I just sat down and thought to myself, I feel like I'm losing myself. I'm losing my identity. This is not who I really am. And the people I'm trying to impress are not trying to speak like me either. So I think I should just step back and, be myself. Then there's also issue of culture. Now, I have to point out something. We are in a global village now, right? If we can't, no identity is an island. No culture can stand on its own. So I think at this point, we can just take a little bit of this from there, a little bit of that, but still try and maintain your cultural integrity. I'll give you an example. If you go to Tokyo or anywhere in Japan, you see that even with all the suit-wearing Japanese you see going to corporate functions and all that, at some point in time, you see that Japanese people are just different. Indian people are different. The Chinese are different. To the Middle East, same thing. Why is it that it's us that once the moment we just cross a river, not even a sea, we lose everything and just start thinking.
Someone will go to Togo and come back with American accent.
That's why I said river. That's why I said river. There are people who work at the airport. Before I left, they worked at the airport. Just by interacting with people who come and go, they start speaking having accents. Just so you can find one human being with British, American, and Canadian accent. Just one, and the person walks for one person. Then even while we're dealing with culture, there's something I need to say here. If people don't like it, fine, but I need to say it here. White wedding is not our culture, and white wedding is not marriage. I keep saying it to people. I didn't have this knowledge a long time ago. I only discovered it recently. Yay. White wedding.
Hey, see props, so.
White wedding, doing a white wedding is doing, you are repeating exactly what you did in your father's compound in the village. No difference. That thing you call white wedding is not even in the Bible. They manufactured it for people who didn't have real culture so that they can at least do something to get married. But you have your culture.
That's actually not true, but I get what you're trying to say. It actually was in the time of Queen Victoria. It was from her German husband's culture that was adapted. So they get culture. It's not just our own.
Okay. Okay. Now there's something you need to understand. And when I
your head, there's no bell.
There's a lot of misconceptions where people. What bell is this? There's a lot of misconception where people think that all this culture and everything we are saying that they all came from Caucasians. It's not true. Civilization started from Egypt here. It's just that the thing went round, kept going, went to Europe, came, and it's coming back here. Now, our Africans have always been civilized. That's what people don't know. Go back 4,000, 5,000 years. Africans have always been civilized. The only mistake we made at some point in history was that a lot, not all, a lot of us failed in documenting, like physically documenting activities. And what we did instead, we're doing oral tradition either through songs or poetry or chanting or when you're hailing someone. So that was the only way we were able to manage to gather some information from the time past to this present day. But like Kay said, there's this Calabar. I'm sure there are other pocket tribes that did the same thing. Then food, yeah, very important. I need to talk about this. I had this discussion. I don't know if I had this discussion on this
platform. Our lives.
wait. I'm coming. I need to state something here. You know, a couple of times we sit and talk with men. Oh, can you hear me?
Continue. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Okay. We can hear you. Right. Yes.
So
loud and clear.
A couple of okay. So now there's this thing about food. The way we eat now wasn't the way we were eating like 30 years ago, and I'm a witness. Because each time when you call people and speak with people in Nigeria, what's going on? I'm hungry. We are dying of hunger. Really? What happened? Why are you hungry? A bag of rice is now 30,000 naira or 50,000. I said, okay, yes. How much is a bag of millet? How much is a bag of kokoro and this other? And why do you need a whole chicken to make a meal? You know, we've become so accustomed. And I'll tell you when it started. Like I remember when they introduced Indomie. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh God.
Yes.
We can hear you. Continue talking.
Oh, okay. Stop interrupting me, Abby. So what I'm saying is that because over time we find a system whereby we start eating because we are trying to eat what we've been watching on TV over the years. We've been trying to eat hot dogs. We're trying to eat burger. We're trying to eat all these things we've been seeing on TV. Then all of a sudden, when we got reintroduced to the world after 1999, we decided that we are going to eat everything down. We just decided that we are going to kill ourselves. You know, we started eating oily, fatty food. Our ancestors didn't eat like that. We didn't eat meat the way we are eating it now. Back then, I remember Christmas, the whole family would just kill one chicken, and they shared within that family of 6 or 10, and everybody will be so excited with the prospect of having a piece of that native chicken to eat. But today, you just buy a carton of turkey, and your 5-year-old child, you load 2 pieces of turkey for the child to be eating, and the child will eat rice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and when he's not eating rice, he's either eating eba, fufu. You are not repeating the same type of carbohydrates and all that. We didn't used to eat like that. This is a new thing. It is not our way of eating. We had balanced diet before with enough vegetables, a right mix of carbohydrate, protein, and we had all that. But now it's all messed up, and it's expensive. That lifestyle is expensive. That's why it looks like people are starving, because they're not going to do the right thing. You say, why am I going to eat food with only fish? That means I'm dying now, and hunger is killing me. No, it's wrong. Then lastly, before I go, we no longer take, our health is now messed up because again, westernization. We want to buy bread 500 meters from my doorstep. I'm going to enter my AC car and drive to go and buy the bread, wind down the glass. Hey, madam, I need 500 naira bread. Okay, she'll give it to you, put it back inside the car. You wind up the car again, then reverse and go back to your house. No time for exercise. That's why I'm following Oga Kayode. I'm trying to walk 2,000 steps every morning, whether it's in Canada, Lagos, or in the US. He's walking every morning, and I'm beginning to imbibe that. That's how we were. We used to trek. We were very physical. We were very, we're just that, So let me give space for the next person. I just decided that I'll just point out these notes that I just took down. Maybe later now I'll expatiate. Abby, can you hear me?
Really strong points. Now,
Oh, okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
I thought I was the one freezing.
It's like everybody is frozen. Hey, your village people have come to attack the show. Tell them to keep to you alone.
I'm experiencing
it. So, Bablo, Sean, you've been hearing this. There's actually a comment, but I'm going to read it because I'm struggling with that. Okay, wait, let me quickly read the comments. Then, Shell, you come and give your points, and then we'll bring Candy in. So, Yusuf Amuda said, he's commenting from Facebook, and he said, I love that white wedding issue. And finishes the traditional.
Okay. So while we're waiting for her, I think Shewa is the next person to speak. Shewa, are you there? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm here.
2 people are out.
Abby is out.
Where else is out? Abby, I think it's a UK thing, and Abby Fash is still surviving.
Abby Bola is in the UK too, right?
No, well, that is true in a way.
Mm-hmm. It's because they were attacking the Queen's wedding.
Okay, let's go to Sheun. Sheun, please tell us.
You guys have done justice. I'm not sure there's much to add really, but the truth of the matter is I don't know if it is being hospitable that became our undoing, because all we did was just to welcome and embrace visitors. But somehow down the line, we welcomed them embraced them, and in return they gave us what we, I don't know, maybe is it the, is it is it a pigmentation problem now or what, or somehow we just lost it, and we're lagging behind seriously. Thank God for the music industry, like someone pointed out. Even the movie industry, I'm not sure they're doing too much. They're doing so much to portray us the way we are, the way we truly are. Because here are people that have labeled us as fetish, or what we believe in is not what should be embraced or should be encouraged and everything. And somehow we tend to just take and take and take and take. While we are taking, we're the Chinese, and that is why I think why they are regarded as one of the you know powerful nations in the world today. I remember when I was working with elderly man who taught me quite a few things. He pointed that thing out to me and told me that, look, if we had encouraged our language and taught our children from day one in our mother tongue, that probably we would have been able to achieve much. I didn't really understand it when he was saying it, but it began to sink. It began to make sense, because the example he used at that time was that these Chinese, what they do is just they teach in their own language. Everything they do is in their own language. We just relegated everything that was ours, just relegated it. And now, how do we now begin to reclaim and pull back, as it were? How do we do that? The only significant thing, and people, unfortunately, we are like a ship without a rudder. Those that we look up to and call leaders, I don't know. They seem not to even they seem not to be really concerned about this. Everybody is busy trying to make money, or what. So, in fact, it's really sad, really. It's really sad. But we need to make conscious effort. Honestly, you can't leave the shores of the country and just forget, and just you don't. Some people are, in fact, some people are saying, the minute I just leave this place like this, Otiton, that's the end. Well, it can't be. The world is a global village. Every nation, every culture matters, despite the fact that there's discrimination here and there. But the minute you begin to lose your sense of who you are, where you come from, the thing is eroding. And that is where we are now. That is where we are. I thank God for Atobatele. Myself, in fact, it is a conscious thing. Kí ló ń jẹ́ baptismal name? I'm a Christian, yes. But láyé o, Ojo, my children don't have English names. They don't have baptism. They don't have any of that. Mo dẹ̀ fi ń kọrin sí wọn létí ni, I sing it into their ears. This is who you are. Wherever you find yourself in this world, you represent this family. What is your name? In fact, it became a battle at some point. When my son comes and he say, in fact, it is very recently that I just make it no be like say this man werewolf, because he's still a very, in fact, he's a toddler papa. But when he goes to school and he comes back and say, maybe my son and my daughter, they are having a banter, and my son calls her Fimi. I say, what did you just call her now? Her name is Oluwafimi Daraire. But when they get to school, probably because of how long and the name, I impress it. When you get out there, if anybody calls you Pam Pam, tell them your name is Oluwa. You are Oluwa Pamimo. You are Oluwafimi Daraire. Let them call it.
Do you people think about WAEC exam forms when you give this name? Because those forms are very, very limited in how many letters you can put in. And when a person's name is longer than the alphabet.
I am Oluwaseun. You are Oluwa Pamimo. She's Oluwafimi Daraire, and your mother is Oluwayomi. Let anybody deal with it. That is that is our name.
But okay.
You know, and I tell them honestly, I do that. It is very recently. But once in a while, I will tell them, no, that is not your name. Let them know what your name is. Let them know what your names are, because we are losing it. Honestly, we are losing it, and it starts from here. You get out of the shores of the country, and what happens? My name is John.
May I throw a bit of a pigeon in the cat house here before I bring Candy on? And I want to hear your thoughts on this, because you cited Kayode so I want to hear what Kayode says about this. Then Candy, I'm bringing you on because you are definitely going to be coming from a completely different perspective. So I'm quite excited to hear what you're going to say. Now, I find a lot of, and this is very particular with Christians, they make up names like Oluwafemi Daraire. Now, Dara is more of a Yoruba name that I'm sort of used to, but all the others, and there's usually is like Dara Simi, things like that, those kind of names. But then we've created this new names based around faith and that kind of stuff. So you those we read Oluwa, not even Oluwa, Shikemi, like the really old names, Aduni, Aduke, Folakemi, those like really pam names. Typical names that you will only hear maybe our own parents and our grandparents bearing them. We've sort of funkified our names now. Isn't that still sort of selling out, even though we are trying to say we're reclaiming culture?
So
it's just a question. I'm not accusing anybody.
Yeah.
It's just a question.
What I'll say is that the Yoruba culture, if you can't hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you now.
So the Yoruba culture, when
I can hear you now.
Yeah. When I'll speak just because I'm speaking from the Yoruba aspect. The Yoruba culture has always embraced innovation, right? The Yoruba culture has always embraced innovation. So the thing about the culture of names is that the name must have meaning. So when you hear a Yoruba person's name, from time immemorial, you can tell the trade of the family business. You can tell. If somebody was born and there was a story around that person, you will hear names like Eniton.
Eniton, yeah.
Which means there's a story around that person. If they were unfortunate to come from a family that had the SS, right? You will hear names that tell you that there was a problem. So the names have always had meaning. So you don't just take a name for taking sake. The name you give your child tells a story about the child. Right? And part of the culture also says that the name you call a child also directs the child towards their future. Ajoke, right? Jumoke tells you that this is a child that you must pamper. Olarunke, wealth. So, you know, so the name always has meaning.
Adefiropo. So that's someone
exactly,
who's not been.
Exactly. So we understand, right, from the culture that you give a name that has meaning. You don't just take a name. So us giving a name of what we see about a child is in line with the culture.
Okay.
Right. So I'll leave it like that.
Quite a very good answer. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So Candy, now you've been hearing everybody talk about food, talk about this. You're a healthcare practitioner, just like Tunde. Tunde is a doctor. Tunde, you're based in Canada, aren't you?
No. Let's correct that. I'm not a doctor.
Oh, sorry. Who was a doctor then?
No. I'm a cardiac physiologist, but then again, I wear many hats.
Okay. So, you are not a doctor, you're a cardiac physiologist. But in Nigeria Palace, you are a doctor, Shao.
But yeah, no, I'm based in the US.
Okay, so Candy is she's a nurse, highly qualified nurse. She's also based in the US. Yes, in the US. So Tunde, you grew up in the US from what age?
No, I was born in England.
Okay.
Grew up, I would say I have lived about maybe 75% of my, I've lived about 80% of my life outside of Nigeria. About maybe 75% in the UK, London.
Okay. And Candy, you were born in the States, yeah?
No, actually, I was born in Nigeria. I was born in University of Ibadan, but my father was a diplomat, so I spent more time outside of Nigeria than in Nigeria. So
so you and Tunde.
Where did you live in University of Ibadan?
I don't know. I was born there.
She was born there. She didn't live there.
Because my parents went there, and my mom was still in school when she had me and my brother.
I know all the streets there. That's why I was asking.
Oh, really? No, because I was born there, and then we moved to Kenya. So yeah.
So you even moved to East Africa. I think you also lived in the Orient
I went to high school in South Korea.
Yeah. Okay. So you have really
elementary school in Germany. Yeah.
She's United Nations.
She's United.
So they used to call us when I was in school. They used to call us the term third culture kids.
Third culture kids.
Yeah, third culture.
Why?
Because especially whenever we were out with my dad's postings, we went to international school. So it was kids from the same kind of background. And sometimes we always felt like we didn't belong anywhere. Like we didn't have because we're moving around all the time. So we always felt like, so it's a thing. You should look it up. Third culture kids.
I will definitely look it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you've talked about something that I want to hone into. That you sometimes felt this disassociation with your environment because you moved around so much. Yeah. And I know that you understand some Yoruba.
Oh, I understand Yoruba quite well.
Oh, okay. So you understand Yoruba. Okay. Better than I even thought that. Yes, because I've heard you, write some things.
Funny. My accent might be funny, but I understand it.
Yeah, because again, you're very close with your mom. At least I know that your mom speaks. So
yeah.
So how have you?
Oh, go ahead. Finish.
No. You finish what you wanted to say.
So, because I came on late, but I'm reading the topic. I've gotten the gist of what's going on. So I have like you said, I do have an interesting perspective on it. So one of the things I always admired that my parents did, no matter where we lived, my parents didn't care. They spoke to Yoruba to us everywhere. We'll be parent-teacher conferences. We as children, didn't get it at the time. We used to be embarrassed or whatever. And we always responded in English. But my mom was like, so my mom her parents don't speak English. My dad's dad does speak English. He was a high school principal or secondary school principal, but my grandmother doesn't speak English. And my mom's like, Yoruba, you know, she was like, I can't have children. They can't speak Yoruba to my parents. So they made sure that, and my brothers have lived in Nigeria more than I have, so they speak it. Their accents are much better than mine. They sound
your accent is actually quite good. I mean, you spoke Yoruba very fluently there.
But I would say and I think one of the things, being a third culture kid, as I grew older, I really wanted to embrace my Nigerianness, my Yoruba culture, and that's why I've, you know, when people meet me, I never deny, people ask you here, where are you from? The first thing I say is Nigeria. You meet some people, they'll tell you, oh, I'm from Boston. I'm like, no, but where are you really from? Like, you know,
exactly.
Like, where are you really from? I want to know where you're actually from. Yes, I know you live in Boston and you've lived it, but where are you really from? But like, I always tell people, like, it's a sense of, to me, it's a sense of like, I feel like culture is important. And it's really funny that this came up today, because I went to see a patient today. She's her daughter they're originally from like Poland or something. And she was complaining about the Indians, how they don't adapt. And she was like, oh, you know, they stick to themselves. They speak the Hindu, and complain. I'm like, well, them retaining their culture doesn't mean they're not adapting to American culture. And actually, and I was telling her, I actually admire that about them, because the culture is important, you know? So I mean, one of my major regrets is that my kids, I'm not teaching them Yoruba, but it's so hard. I'm married to an American white man, and I don't have anyone really to speak it to here. And I tried initially with Kennedy, but it was just very hard. But I mean, when my mom comes, she tries to teach them, and she speaks it to them. And I'm hoping that like I can still change that before it's too late. But yeah, I think culture. I think it's very sad that as many people have said that we've really lost our sense of culture for the most part. I remember doing a funny video probably about a year ago. I don't know if you saw it, Abby, where I was making fun of parents who hire people to give their children like American and British accents. And
yes, I read I did. Yes. And you were like, you're up for opportunity to make money.
I mean, it was a very sarcastic video about it.
I know.
I mean, that's a topic I always feel weird talking about, because people are like, what about you? You don't have your Nigerian accent. But I lost it since I was like 3-4 years old. You know, I've always been to American schools, and so I picked it up since then. So it's not like I can't speak any other way than I'm speaking. So, but you know, when people talk about that, they're like, oh, you know, what if we're from? I'm like, this is the way that I speak. But that's also why I'm also very, you know, like you said, I write Yoruba in some of my posts many times. Like I'll write something because I want people to, you know, people are always shocked. Like, you know, I give my children Nigerian food. You know, I remember.
Yeah, I remember when Kennedy was polishing off some jollof rice.
No, the one that shocked people.
Amala, yes. Amala,
my children actually prefer to eat Nigerian food than the American food. You know, like I try every way I can to integrate that culture. Like even Kennedy, she might not speak the language, but I always tell her, you know, I tell her about Nigeria. I tell her about her being half Nigerian. I'm like, while you're American, you're also half Nigerian. You're two parts of two different cultures. You know, I was adamant that I wanted my children to have Yoruba middle names. You know, we looked up a list of names. Mike, you know, went and looked at the meanings, and Mike actually picked their Yoruba names. Ayomide and Ayodeji. So, wow. Nice. And that was the we picked them for a reason. Ayomide, like, you know, our joy is here, and then when we have Lincoln, you know, our joy is doubled. So those are the names I was like, you pick out the Yoruba names, like, so that you can know, like, our names do have meaning. And he picked up names, and I was very happy with the names he picked out. And yeah, so culture, I think it's very sad, as many people have said, that we're just slowly but surely losing it. It's heartbreaking, really, because a lot of, you know, even the Spanish people, they retain their culture. Like they retain their culture. They're you know, many other cultures retain their culture, and we just kind of, I think a lot of it also has to do with the colonialism that we've been through. I mean, that's a huge part of it, and so we've embraced that everything that's Western is the right
It's
thing,
better.
is better, you know. We've embraced that.
Or it's not even just Western, because when you spoke about the Spanish, I just remember that I have actually met Nigerians who call their husbands papi. Like, okay, papi is nowhere near our culture at all. Unless you're calling it papi lolo, then okay, maybe. Because papi lolo is our own. But you know, you just wonder, like, where? I mean, if your wife calls you papi lolo, would you like it? But I'm like, why did we start becoming Spanish? But again, I mean, like in Nigeria presently, there are schools where they teach Nigerian kids Mandarin. They teach them French, Spanish, everything. And I remember when I finished secondary school and I was waiting to go into university, and I went to Alliance Francaise for 2 years, and I was studying French. And I got so good to a point. I actually went for a competition and I came second, and I could speak French like the best of them. But again, it was a weird thing because I'm learning French in school. Then I come home and I go straight into Conk Yoruba. So of course, when I finished my education and everything, I came home and I'm there going, oh, it's just sweet. My mom was like, have you finished? It was like a colossal waste of time. Like, I remember when I came back from Jos and I was so desperate to practice the little Hausa I knew. And the only person who understood Hausa within the maybe 10-mile radius was the Malam whose shop was near to our house. Until the day my dad caught me in front of his shop and I was talking, and my in fact, the look my dad gave me was enough to get me running home like, I just say, so Malam is not your friend. So Malam, I said, Daddy, but I want to practice house. I say, have you spoken the Yoruba in your mouth finish? Have you finished speaking the Yoruba in your mouth? Now you want to go and be learning Hausa with Malam if I ever catch you. So sometimes, we as individuals are open to learning our own culture and everything, but sometimes it's our environment, our parents, their own bias, their own kind of complex with our culture and our language. Because again, when you have a parent who all their life they just wanted to be different, they feel that everything that is native to them is bush, and they want to be highfalutin. I watched the mother talk to her kids some years ago, and I almost collapsed with laughter because this woman has a strong Ekiti accent. Strong. When she is strong. Strong one. And she's trying to talk to her kids and she just mango, but you can imagine when you're trying to speak phonetics but with strong Ikare accent. Can you see the battle that will happen in your mouth? So it's like, oh, Timilange, are you going there to I was like, Auntie, your teeth will fall out too. I was like, no, we are in the abroad, we have to upgrade, And unfortunately, she wasn't even that well educated to be able to speak English quite fluently. So it was very much a broken kind of English, unlike her kids who were born in the country, in the UK. So she's like, so Timilenyi, so you're getting that paper. And they're trying to speak this funkified English, but all your actions and mannerisms are still very Ekiti. It was a travesty. That is
I think, especially with the older generation, it still comes down to the colonialism.
Auntie, in case you watch this, please, I'm not laughing at you. Okay, I am. Forgive me. Continue.
I say it still comes down to like the influence of our colonial masters or whatever. But I think there's hope because I feel like more educated people now are realizing the importance. Because I mean, from conversations I've had with friends, and being on Facebook or whatever, more people want their children. At least that's what I'm saying. Their children to understand the language and retain the culture. So I'm hoping that while we've kind of gone the other way, we can start really realizing how important our preserving our culture is. So I have hope that it's not all lost, Yeah.
Okay, Abby, here's a thought that I wanted to consider and speak on. We look at now Black British people, Black, African American people who were not born in the motherland, as they call it. And they're now trying to adapt the culture, adapt the name, adapt the clothing, but it sometimes comes across, and especially on television, it comes across as such a bastardized form. I mean, I was so enraged. This is years ago. I'm talking maybe 10 years ago. I was so enraged by a series of NCIS where there was a Nigerian character who had been trafficked and everything. First of all, they said this person is from Nigeria, from the east, and the person's name was Kojo. I was like, Kojo is not a Nigerian name.
Research.
Like I had to write in and like, would it have killed you guys to do a little bit of research? Kojo is nowhere a Nigerian name from or anywhere.
Yeah.
So, and then when this so-called character was speaking Yoruba, I was like, you're supposed to be an immigrant from Nigeria that has been trafficked into the US, and you're speaking Yoruba with an American accent, and the Yoruba is not even Yoruba, it's like ta ta ta. Kind of. And like, I mean, how much I actually said I would do it for you free. If you want to do any other series, call me. I would do it free. Because I don't know how much it's costing you that you don't just want to do this research. So when you hear people like that, personally, my heart breaks because I can see that hunger and that thirst for going back to that thing that they miss so much. What are your thoughts about that? Yeah. And then, Abby, when you finish, I want Tunde to also speak on that, and then Ron, please.
Okay, like I said, there is no magic about this. Give people credit when they are even trying, because as much as there are quite a lot of people trying, there are also quite a lot of people who are still very backward in terms of moving forward. I will take Nollywood, for example. And I know that as much as everyone likes the King of Boys, for me, and I'm sorry, I don't know who's going to watch this. I know it's a project that everyone likes in Nigeria.
Tella is going to love you.
So, what you're about to when what's his name now? What's this man? The Charlie boy. When he was saying man, or whatever, I was
Oduru Bariga.
My was banging. I was like, did they beg you people for these men? The people that owns the men, they can do it themselves.
Odudu Bariba.
Yeah, Odudu Bariba. That's his character's name.
So for me, that was a turn off. As much as there was quite a lot of scenes there that are quite okay, not as very critical as Bumi, and I'm sure she's watching. She's gonna watch and gonna scream me like, "What's Abby saying?" Yeah. I don't agree with all of our analysis, but I think there were so many off moments there. There were so many off moments, and those are the kind of examples, not just even in that movie, maybe because they were trying to I don't know, trying to do something, going to Netflix or trying to make it a bit international standard,
National.
quote and unquote. But I watch a lot of movies. Like for me, for instance, when I put on YouTube and I watch movies, and I'm not joking, my hands are up. The only movie that I watch to sleep is Nollywood movies. It's like my dose. Like I sleep with it because in
I
the next
am. That's my
minutes,
secret
within
passion.
10,
I've said
15
that
minutes,
for me.
they start speaking unnecessary. It's not by force. Like me, now I don't speak like Abby. Abby doesn't speak like me. I don't have to force it. She speaks, it's like trying to form and be speaking like Candy now. It's like, am I gonna kill myself? Is
Our
it
teeth will break, oh, if we try to speak like Candy.
do you understand? This is like, who is punishing you? Who sent you? So these are things, little things that we're trying to. It's good to, how will I put it now? It's good to improve things, right? Which I think
Mm,
is the idea behind some of the things that they are doing, but they overdo it. So
mm.
you can't be living abroad and not, for me, and I'm not joking, I'm trying to be political correct here. But when I'm talking, say you go to London, for instance, and you want to call Woolwich, and you get there, you say, Woolwich, I'm going to Woolwich. No matter how nice I am, I'm going to turn and look at it like, okay, this person is Johnny, because in Nigeria, we pronounce everything literally. And so when you come there, you're doing the right thing.
Borough of London.
You get what I mean?
The
So for
first time I
us,
heard that, I almost died. Like what?
yeah,
Borough of London.
but do you get what I mean? So
It's
and
the
I'm not
borough.
saying
Borough
people
of London. That's
exactly.
Borough of London.
I'm not saying that people should
Borrow the
not
change.
get better, but there's little, just make it a little bit, don't overdo it. You're learning. So if you don't pronounce it well, as long as you can get one or two things right, then it's okay. So for me, I think this awareness that we're doing, we go a long way. I also think that for places like, I will mention that the music industry in Nigeria, they've gone, like, I love it. A lot of songs that they sing sometimes are rubbish, but because I love music anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you are singing Papa Angolo, as long as the music, which is the sounds, are very good. So you can tell me your daddy is a thief or your mom is a thief. I don't know. But as long as the music is fantastic, I am good to go. So I think if we keep, if the other industries could kind of emulate what the music industries are doing in Nigeria, it will also help in a way for people to get things better. Awareness, that's all I could say. Because for somebody like me, go on.
No, I was
No,
yeah.
no, finish what you want to say. Finish what you want to say.
You're gonna ask question.
Well, no, I was going to
No,
say something after you, so I just wanted to
Okay.
interject real,
yeah,
but
I
you.
just wanted to say something that another thing that and of course another thing that a lot of people don't understand or put in awareness is if you're born in a country or you've lived there from when you're a child, the possibility of you adapting the accent of where you are. I mean, we've seen the Nigerian Oimbo.
Yeah.
He grew up in Lagos. He speaks Yoruba better than some Nigerians.
Yes.
The guy he lived he didn't even live in like in the highbrow area of Lagos. His family weren't that rich. They lived in like Agege or something like that. The guy is a rugged, you know. So again, that's a white boy who speaks like a Nigerian. Look at the other guy whose family is in the north in Abuja, the Abuja Nigerian. He's Indian Asian mix, but he speaks he speaks Hausa, he speaks everything like a Nigerian. The only thing that will make you know that he's not is the color of the skin. So we have to differentiate people who grew up or were born in a place and that's the accent, that's their natural accent. But the issue is with people who maybe they entered the airport to transit to another place or they went there. Even people who go to South Africa come back with American accents. I don't understand.
You know what? You can't really, in a way, we can't blame them 100%. No fairness. It's just that when we overdo it,
Because what they're doing is that they want that abroad or wherever they've gone to, even if it's like mini abroad that they've been to, they want it to reflect on their way of life. And you know that in Nigeria, if you speak English, you are the bomb. And
Yeah, you're respected. That is
you're
true.
respected. And so you wouldn't, in a way, 100%, I wouldn't blame them. But like I said, if someone comes here now with a very thick, very thick accent, and it's really, really, and I'm sorry, Biafra people, I'm with you guys there. I don't believe in Biafra, but I'm supporting whatever you're supporting. Just continue your course and let me do. So,
Please don't put Katala from you.
no, I'm just saying, with all due respect, we have diverse of opinions. So I'm not Biafra, I don't, but whatever they are doing, I'm just saying egoistic people, just like somebody will say, Yoruba people that we have name as well now.
Mbati, Ofe Miri or something like that, that we drink plenty of oil and pepper. That's what Ron just taught me. But
You just threw me under the bus.
I have mad love.
Abby.
I have mad love. What?
You just threw me under the bus.
I didn't throw
Did
you
I
under
tell
the
you that? I said Ofe Manu, you said Ofe Miri. I did the same thing. I did the same thing.
Okay, I mixed it up. Forgive me. But the thing is, I have mad love for Igbo men.
I'm not the one who says so.
My lifelong dream is to marry an Igbo man with the thickest accent, because I want to wake up in the morning and say, baby, oh God, my brain is scatter.
Yes, because
that is what I want. I want to be addressed as baby.
One man's meat is another man's fish, even though they call it poison, but it's another man's fish. So if that's what you want, but we all have choices. So what I'm saying is that some people can still, come out and speak here, but we're saying that excessiveness is not necessary. Even though we're trying.
Okay, Candy, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I want to say, I really can understand what Habi was saying about King of Boys, some of the scenes and the exaggerated accents, because we have people, like almost everybody here speaks with a Nigerian accent that's clear and understandable. My parents, as much as, like I said, my father was a diplomat, my parents have been traveling. Not once have I seen my parents trying to change the way they speak. And, I've taught my daughter, because my mom would FaceTime with her, and she's like, Mommy, I don't understand. I'm like, no, you listen clearly. She's speaking English. So you listen clearly, and you can understand what she's saying, because she is speaking English, and it's clear. My parents speak clear, good, correct, grammatical English. They speak English better than many Americans. It's just they have an accent, but it's a clear accent. And I tell my daughter, I'm like, no, you pay attention. You can understand what Grandma's saying. Grandma's speaking English, and you can understand. And now she's like, she understands. It's just like it was a different accent to her, but I'm like, English. So I think that's another thing.
I think that's very much a very Western thing. That laziness of, if it's too foreign, can't be bothered.
Oh yeah, I fight with colleagues about it.
I'll just call.
She's like, oh, I don't understand. They're not speaking English. No, they're speaking English. You just listen. They're freaking speaking English. You just choose not to listen because they don't sound like you do. But they're speaking English.
Abby,
yes.
Just to kind of, I think that we want to be mindful though that when a lot of these people go to, when people travel abroad, pronunciations and how things are done in the West, they may not be familiar with these things. Does not necessarily mean that they are wrong or that we are right or that they are right and we are wrong. Either way, I think we just need to be mindful not to appear overcritical. That's one thing I wanted to kind of throw out there. The other thing I would say is that, we can talk about the movies and TV shows and lazy journalism or laziness when they're trying to do the work they should do. That's a different thing. And we have been misrepresented for generations. This is typical.
Too long.
For a very long time we've been misrepresented, and the way that for me, listening to the BBC was something that I thought was challenging, tough to listen to. try listening to CNN and Fox. Oh my goodness, they don't have the way they take the news and twist and manipulate it is incredible. So for me, and the way they kind of manipulate information and news and how they make you think that everything else is. So anyway, for me, all I'm saying with that is that I don't ever take things like that too seriously. We have to have our own way. And I think there was something I read the other day that there are only 2 news broadcasting stations in the US that are black owned or something like that. And if you imagine the huge number of others, so we don't have an opportunity or an outlet to get out our own news the way we should be hearing it in the way that it should be told. So we're having to hear somebody else's versions and somebody else's idea of how they should how we should process information, because all you need to do is hear that so many times and you begin to speak CNN or speak Fox News, depending on if you live in America, you probably understand that. But apart from that, I would say that our dear brother, Mr. Tobatele, hit the nail on the head when he said something really important at the beginning. He said that a generation ago, the mindset was completely tampered with and destroyed. And they came abroad and they went abroad. Some of them, they went to school abroad. My father being one of those generation. I want to put them anywhere between 75 and 95. If your father fell into that generation, they were part of that generation that mentally they were told that being, some of them went to school abroad, some of them went to school at home. They were told that education was the way to go about it, and that everything else before them was irrelevant and inconsequential. And strangely enough, they came back home. Some of them who were back home in Nigeria, their parents willingly handed over the country to them at a very young age. So that was all to do with making them believe that that was actually accurate. That yes, they have arrived, they are the future, and they know what they're doing, and they know how, and they've dismissed of all these other things. So where I'm going with that is this: regardless of how we may look at today, that's just consequences of what has happened then, and it's still happening till today. That generation still runs majority of the world. That generation in different countries, that generation in Nigeria, particularly till today, control the narrative, control the way we think, control the way we do things. And it's up to this new generation to stand up, fight. But the reality of our own generation, and I hate to say this, is that we might be remembered as the generation that talked a lot and
did nothing.
I'm sorry to say that, and and sometimes I'm always accused that I'm a bit too direct with my approach, but it's very difficult, and I know that there are challenges with confronting, and because our culture also says, be respectful, don't question your adults, and so on and so forth. That's the part of our culture which if I could take it back to the original post of Westernized world and in an African identity. If I could change anything about that, would be how do we respectfully, within the boundaries of our culture, speak up about some of the ways that our parents' generation have reset or recalibrated our mentality in such a way that it is to our own detriment. How do we do that successfully? How do we respectfully say, our elders, we appreciate you, we love you, we respect you, but it's time to take it back to where it was before. Maybe not completely where it was before, but there's a fine line in there. How do we do that respectfully within the boundaries of our culture? I don't know the answer to that. But so far, I hope that we don't go down in history as a generation that talked about it, because our children are waking up, and you'll be surprised, they're doing a lot more, and they want to do a lot more than we have done. We've only talked about it.
That's part of the reason why we have this kind of forum where we come together and we have these discussions, because again, internet is forever. A lot of people will tune in, watch, and then start making adjustments. And I believe very much in collaboration. I believe in what stops people like you and me, since we realize that we are like-minded, to say, you know what, we're going to form a coalition and actually start checking how, our culture is being depicted. I mean, some years ago, when some pamphlets were being shared around at workplaces, a group of women came together and coalition, and they fought so much for it. Within a year, all over the UK, if you were going to write a document, it was passed through them to see whether it was written in plain English. If the English was plain enough for anybody to be able to understand it, and then, being shared out to the world. I don't know if you've heard of that plain English coalition. Have you heard of them before?
No,
Abby?
no.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. Well, because you'll find their stamp on a lot of documents in the UK, where they actually are like, just make things very plain, very simple, don't complicate stuff. So if people can come together with what they believe, and my worry is, why is it so difficult for us to do this? Igbo people come together and say, okay, this is our culture when you're doing films, because music has sort of gotten it right to a certain extent, But somehow it's the films, and the films are really the very, very powerful ones, because they're the audio visual aspects of how we, look at and translate and write about our culture. And I don't know. I would happily come together with a group of people and be like, okay, Nigerian home videos, Nollywood. If you're going to do a film, somehow we have formed this group. This group is now so powerful. We've been able to pull some clouds that if we do not see these things in your film, we are not approving it. We're not saying you can't release it, but people will now start checking the standard of your film by the standards of what we say should be the standard. You understand what I'm saying? So people will be like, oh, has it been Yoruba coalition approved? Is it so? It will actually now be a thing of honor for them to be including this coalition approved stamps onto their pieces of work. Because again, I love Charlie Boy. I love him to death. I think he's one of the most amazing people on earth. But I was like, Shola Shobaile did this Yoruba part so well. Other people came, they did their parts. The Hausa people came, did their parts so well. And then you came and you were menning the whole place up and down. Oga, what's that? And at one point in time, you tied Gele. Although I love the Gele was fabulous. But I was like, what is going on here? So, I'm like, there are so many other actors who would have carried that gravitas and carried that Igbo, like, look at my love for Igbo men was renewed with Odogu Male. When Odogu enters the screen, people didn't start jumping with joy when he comes on screen. No, I don't want to put spoilers, but they did him evil. As far as I'm concerned, they did him evil.
Abby, the thing is this. I'm glad you pointed that out through the movies and all that. Some time ago, the movie industry in Nollywood, let's say like 15 years back, they were actually coming into the scene with that education, cultural education. But I think along the line, a set of people hijacked it and focused more on the commerciality of the movies they were churning out, and in the process they lost quality control. They started doing whatever they liked, selecting actors and actresses based on their own selfish desires to portray roles. Then another major disaster in Nigerian movies industry, script writers. They don't really have good script writers. I think I've discussed that with you before. They don't have script writers, and even people who proofread what they write as script. Because if you are going to speak Yoruba, speak proper Yoruba. If you are going to speak Igbo, speak proper Igbo. And if you are going to speak English, speak English. Don't just come and confuse everybody with your own lack of depth. It's not acceptable. Then I like what you said. There's there should be like a body. There should be different bodies that endorse these things before they come out. Screenings. There should be serious screenings. But I know they do one or two screens, but I'm not talking about just Netflix. I'm talking about the local ones too. You know, let them be screened. Let them be credible people. Whereby when you see a star beside that name or beside that guild or group of people, then you know that okay, this is something worth watching. Because like you pointed out, a lot of disasters that took place in well, let me not knock Kenya Adetiba. I think she was just doing everything at the same time. But I hope she
I
learned a
enjoyed the
lesson from
film.
this.
I did.
Mm. Yeah, but I hope she learned, she saw her errors from this last one. Because the first one was a lot, much better than this one. But I hope she learned, she has seen the review, and I hope she learns, because whether I like it or not, like you said, the visuals is what I learned a lot of as an Igbo guy. In like 10 years, 15 years, I learned a lot of things about my culture just by watching these local Nollywood programs. It's not that I didn't know, but you know, it goes deeper. You can't know everything. Your parents can't know everything. It goes deeper when you learn from other sources. So I think that's another way we can look at it, you know, because we're speaking solutions now. So I think, like you rightly said, that's a way to go about it. Movies.
Yeah. You know, coming together, we find ourselves with real, like, you know, the same ideas, the same beliefs, and coming together to try and make it a better world for ourselves. Because I definitely do not want to be part of the generation that just talked and talked and talked. I want to do something. If I don't have children, I don't know if I'll have children, but I want to leave a mark in the world for other people, whether my kids or other people's kids, where they'll be like, you know what, I was able to trace my way back to my you know, my hometown, to where I'm from. Ron, you and I were talking about this, that how many people can trace their generations, you know, their family down 8 generations. Not a lot of people, you know, because people have just walked away. They don't know how many people know their families or Rickies, you know. How many
I actually took 2 months to trace my lineage 14 steps back, you know. So and I remember when I was starting it, there were people, because I was in the village, there were people like, why are you just wasting your time now? Is that the only thing you can do? All that is that. And I was really shocked that people don't know the importance of these things. They don't understand it. I had to go and buy cardboards and stuff. You know how those British royals, how they draw their family tree. And it took me 2 good months, and I traced out everybody perfectly. At the end of the day, when the job was done, they were like, that they didn't really see what I was doing. I was always at the Obi's palace, every time asking him stupid questions. And the guy, when he sees me, just because he knew what I was trying to do, and my Obi likes all those stuff of historical stuff. He loves it so much that whatever he's in, he'll just leave it. It's okay, let's look at. I said, how about this guy? Was he dead? They said, no, this guy died before that guy. No. Then they go and bring out one old book like that, and they check them, call some. He actually invited chiefs and elders for this project, and we sorted it out. This is something we should be proud of as Africans. Everybody should be teaching their children where you come, because once somebody crosses this river and they go to this UK, everybody should be, that side should not burn. I don't want to have anything to do with the other side of the world. You know, it's not.
You know, if we don't
it
know
doesn't
where
help.
we're coming from. Sorry, Candy.
I was gonna say it's true. It's important. Like, I remember when we went to Nigeria 2 years ago. I think 3 years ago. I took my husband, my white husband, and my mixed race child to the village that my dad. I posted about it where Kennedy saw the goats and was calling them baby horses or something like that. Yeah, so I think it is very important, and I mean, you know, it was good. I felt good about it. Like, I wanted, like, my husband to know this is where I'm from. Like, It might not be much, but this is where I'm from.
Exactly. This is what made candy.
This is my roots. Exactly. This is where this is me. This is and it was a very good feeling. And I think my husband really got a lot out of the trip too, because I feel like he got to know a little bit more about my culture, about where I'm from, and it was a very very good feeling. Yeah.
Did you take him to UI?
I did not.
Oh, come on.
We were only there for 2 weeks.
So he didn't do solidarity.
We went to Ogun State. I took him to Otta, and my dad's from a town called Ipokia, so I took him there. So.
Oh, Ipokia, I know Ipokia.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So you didn't do solidarity with him?
Can I chip in really quickly by saying that where you come from and when you describe it in that modest way, you shouldn't. You should describe where you come from with such pride and passion.
No, I did describe it with passion, but I'm just saying, it's very primitive. That's what I meant. So it's still primitive. There's still areas where there's no power. I was not ashamed of it. I was like, no. I told him about, these are some of my favorite places to go when I was growing up. Whenever we lived in Nigeria, say we're going to, because my parents are also Muslim, when they say we're going home for Ileya and all this stuff. I mean, we have fun, so.
That is this. I had the opportunity to drive from California to Houston. That's 28 hours. And I've driven from Houston to New York City. That's another 28, 29 hours. So I've seen pretty much the whole coast of the U.S. From the northeast, driven all the way to border of, if you want to say, towards Northern California. And why do I say this? You will see some of the most remote places in America. Some of the most derelict, remote places that are completely primitive and inhabitable. So one thing I would say is that we should always look at ourselves with pride, with passion, and think about it that however primitive that place is, seriously, there are times when I go about 5 miles away from New York City, there's a place called Jersey City. Oh my goodness, you just need to see Jersey City. When you go inland, Jersey City, it's a disgrace. I'm sorry, it's shambolic.
In the whole Moricas, like that. Shambolic.
Oh yeah, Jersey City is.
I don't want to be caught there at night.
Is that bad?
Okay. Don't let me speak Yoruba on this matter.
Smoke it, please.
But you know what I mean. I'm just saying that we control that now. Well,
so honestly,
sorry, Abby. Sorry, Abby. Wait, don't stop rushing. Nobody's pursuing us. Now, it's based on what he's saying. Wait. I like that he brought that up. Remember that 3 nights ago we had this discussion about what they are projecting about Africa to the world and what Africa really is. I had a relative who asked me, remember I told you, who asked me, 2020, year 2020. My relative, I'm not going to describe the relative, but my relative actually asked me that, is it really true that zebras move around in Africa? 2020. In the year 2020. So at first, I wanted to get... I wanted to get upset and ask that, why would you think like that? But then again, I remembered, Abby's former employees and the American counterparts, anytime they want to show a report in Nigeria, it might be about Lagos State House of Assembly, it might be about something that happened in Ikoyi, but the cameraman is not going to go to the scene of the incident. He's going to go to Makoko under the bridge, where he's going to go to the worst place ever in the entire city and go and show it. That when you talk.
Wait.
When I arrived in the UK, I finished secondary school in Nigeria, and I went back to the UK. Pretty much, myself and Mr. Moye went to the same secondary.
That's where I know you from.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's all the association right now.
Somebody else went to our school, by the way. Anyway.
Tabatele is the granddaddy of both of them.
As I was saying. So,
me? I'm sweet 16. Oh, what are you talking about?
Right? When I got to the UK, my sister took me to a place called East Ham. Right? When she took me to East Ham and we went from East Ham to Barking, I was shocked because that was not the Britain that I thought of. That was not.
You were thinking Buckingham Palace, yeah?
Thinking something posh and elegant until you get to Upton Park before you realize it is the pit of all pits.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I first went to Howard University too. I remember I got off the subway and I was just like, holy fuck, where the hell am I? Like, I was like, where am I? I was like, I did not look anyone in the eye because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to it in broad daylight because Howard University is right in the middle of the ghetto. Like, it is. I was walking like this. I was like, oh my God. Like,
were you thinking it was Harvard University?
I see, that's another reason too. Speaking about culture, I chose to go to Howard because I saw there was this whole, when I first moved to the States, there was this whole, I want to say kind of like identity crisis or whatever. You know, I was not black enough, but I was also, you know,
not white.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, coconuts.
I was also not
coconuts.
People will be like, oh, why do you speak the way you do? Why are you so proper? Why are you sounding so white? This kind of thing. So, and then I found out Howard also had a big Nigerian presence, and I was like, oh, for the first time I can be amongst my people, you know, so that's why I went there. But it's in the hood, man. It's in the hood, and it was for how old was I? I was like scared for someone who had lived a very sheltered life. I was a bit scared.
You can't even sugarcoat it a little bit.
Sugar. It's like in Manchester now. I think there's some places in Manchester that you will never be caught dead at night.
But you know what?
Some places in Manchester.
Abby, you know what's interesting, right? Is that there are some cities and there are some, well, no, I won't say as far as a city. There are some areas in Lagos, Ogun State, Ibadan, you name it, anywhere in Nigeria. There are some cities, and like no other, everywhere else you go to, there are good sides to it and there are bad sides.
Of course.
You know, there are beautiful parts of Nigeria. I think there was a presentation somebody, it was like a small mini clip that they did of Lagos, and I can't remember who shot that little clip. It was amazing. They just
I think you're talking about B. Bandele.
I can't remember who did it, but it was a clip to say, this is Lagos. This is another version of Lagos that could be represented. But they don't do that. They come, like Ronald said, they go to Makoko or Morocco or something.
Abby's former employees. She and her employers, they were doing, employers, sorry. Abby's former employers, she and her employers, they're responsible.
But when you're in the US and you are you're in US, you are in the UK, when the media go there, they give this impression of paradise.
I'm telling you, you are so right. Because when I came to the UK, me too, I was like,
Abby, have you realized this though? When you're in the UK, I don't know if you can speak to this as well as our other sister on here. It's dull and grey. Majority of the buildings are dull and grey. It's
awful
and looks really you look like you're stuck in.
It's depression. You walk into the council estates in London and it is depression.
Yeah.
You walk in, the atmosphere, the air is sucked out. Everything.
And it's the same thing as when you think about it from America's perspective as well. There are many parts of America that are, needs a massive facelift.
With all due respect to people living in London, God bless your hearts. But every time I get on the plane and I land in London, on the train, and we pull into London, Euston, all I'm thinking about is how quickly can I get out of this place? Because we live up north. So up north is like country. And I live in Farnworth, and honestly, Farnworth is beautiful. It still has its, whatever, but compared to like when you go to London, I beg. I mean, it's a village, Farnworth is a village. Like, it has, mud cons and all that stuff, but it's really a village. But when you compare it to London, I don't understand what people like about London that they want to live and die there. I don't understand it. It is gray, it is depressing. It's nothing like what we were shown on, like upstairs and downstairs, love thy neighbor, all that. So it's nothing like that. Nothing like that. And you just want to be like, man, we were so they con. But it's the same thing. Westerners hear about Africa and they see this. There was a comedian, an American comedian, who talked about an African child that, the advert came up and this African child was there and there was a fly on his eye. And they kept shouting,
Uh-oh. What happened?
blinking.
The fly
And
landed
the
on
same,
her.
pictures. What? Sorry, what did you say?
We lost you for a second there.
Oh, sorry. And it's the same rhetoric. Like the comedian was like, the fly is on your eye. It's on your eye. Just blink, it will move. Blink. And then the child was so tired. The fly was just sitting there, and the child was sitting there like, Now why is it that every time they show Africa, it's always these kids with flies around them, and it's like they're too tired or too hungry to wave the fly away and that kind of thing.
Wait. Abby, don't spoil the gist. Don't spoil the gist.
Nonsense. Stop.
Don't spoil the gist. These your former employers, when they come, let me give you how they operate. For instance,
Mr. Man, leave me alone.
Wait, I'm coming. Wait. Let's get to the story. Your former employers, let's say in Lagos, a House of Assembly member steals 50 million naira, and it becomes a global topic subject for the news. So they are going to send somebody like Jeff Konange. Remember Jeff Konange is going to come to Lagos. Now, the House of Assembly is in Alausa, in a posh area, Alausa, Ikeja, right? They're not going to go there. It's not going to even go. It's not even going to show the roads to the place. It's going to go to that Makoko. Then you go and look for one child that they've not fed for like 3 hours. Then they'll just zoom on the child. Any child without an insect is not a good candidate. So they'll just filter out all the neat-looking children. Then they look for the one with a cricket or cockroach running all over the body. Then they'll zoom on the insect. And he'll be talking. He'll be talking over that scene. He's going to be talking over that scene. The child will not even make any effort. I'm sure they pay the child not to even try and flick it. Because you see the child like this. And flies are landing all over it. And I was like, what's wrong with this child? Pursue this fly now. The child is like, and in Lagos State, 50 billion naira has been stolen. Enough amount to take care of this child who is hungry in Makoko area of Lagos State. Then the child is sitting there. Meanwhile, the State Assembly, where it's meant to be, is not there. They change the scenes. Then they'll show inside the State Assembly. Why, when they are quizzing the guy, after quizzing the guy, they'll show the criminal legislator smiling and coming out of the place. Then they stop that clip again. They go back to Makoko again. Then they show that this child, he has still not closed his mouth. I hope this child has a bright future. The way they are stealing their money, I doubt if he will make it for the next 7 years. This is Jeff Koinege for BBC. Sorry, did I mention BBC? For Abby's former employers reporting. Am I lying? Am I lying? Did I just lie?
I don't know.
The only country they spare in Africa is in sub-Saharan Africa, is South Africa. And that's because their cousins live here. That's the only reason they spare South Africa. But when it comes to black issue, they are going to go to the worst ghetto in Johannesburg. The worst of the worst, and go and start from there. Then they'll show 2 dead people and some gangsters. Then they'll come back to the main place. It's not nice. It's not helping us.
Okay. You know what? I have to end the show here because I think we've talked about this. Now, guys, don't go anywhere. Of course, you know the after party after the after party. But I want to say thank you to everyone who's come. I want to say massive thank you to Weird MC. I really, really appreciate you. Honestly, you coming on today, and she actually sent a text saying, "I hope that was okay." It was more than okay. Thank you so much for coming. And till we do this again, same time next week with more interesting topics. Don't forget to join us on WhatsApp, on YouTube, on our Facebook page. We're setting up our website very soon, so you have all ways to reach out to us. Well, till then, take care and God bless. Bye.